let's jump right in. Today, we're talking about something that, let's be honest, most of us have dealt with at some point. That uncomfortable, swollen feeling in your belly. It can be super confusing, so let's get to the bottom of what your body might actually be trying to tell you. I mean, who hasn't felt this way, right? That awful, tight, puffed up feeling in your stomach where your clothes suddenly feel a size too small. It's incredibly common, but what's really happening in there? So there's a fancy medical term for this, abdominal distension. But really, what you need to know is that it usually boils down to one of two things. It's either a buildup of gas or it's a buildup of fluid. And that difference between gas and fluid, it's really, really important, as we're about to see. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the usual suspects. And the good news here is that most of the time, the reason your belly feels swollen is actually pretty simple and nothing to panic about. Yeah, this is basically the greatest hits album for gas buildup. We're talking about stuff you might do every single day, like chewing gum, sipping on sodas, or even just wolfing down your food too fast and swallowing a bunch of air. And hey, even super healthy, high-fiber foods can cause a temporary bit of bloat. And the main takeaway for all of these common causes, it's usually temporary. It's that kind of swelling that shows up for a bit, and then just as quickly, it's gone. Your body pretty much just sorts it out on its own. But what happens when it's not temporary? What if that swollen feeling just sticks around? Okay, now we're going to shift gears and look at the times when this could be a signal for something a little more serious going on underneath. And this is a really key point. If you're dealing with swelling that's chronic, long-term, chances are we're not just talking about simple gas anymore. We have to start looking a little deeper. This table gives us a great bird's-eye view of what that could mean. You can see we've broken it down into a few main categories. Things like digestive diseases, that fluid buildup we mentioned, food intolerances, and even bacterial issues. This is our roadmap for the next few minutes. Let's kick things off with digestive diseases. So if you have something like celiac disease or IBS, what's often happening is your gut is inflamed or having a kind of immune response. That constant inflammation is what leads to that persistent, nagging swelling. Okay, remember how we said it could be gas or fluid? Well, this is the fluid part. A condition called ascites is a totally different ballgame. This isn't gas. It's when actual fluid collects in your abdomen, and it's frequently a sign of something serious going on with your liver, like cirrhosis. And sometimes the swelling is caused by something, physical, a growth. Things like ovarian cysts or non-cancerous uterine fibroids can actually get big enough to cause a noticeable bulge. And though it's much less common, it can also be a symptom of ovarian cancer. All right, here's a little trick you can try. Pay attention to when the swelling appears. If you notice your belly kind of pops out when you stand up, but then flattens right out when you lie down, it might not even be your gut. It could actually just be that your abdominal muscles are a bit weak, which is super common, especially after a pregnancy. Phew, okay, that was a lot about the why. So now, let's get to the good stuff. What in the world can you actually do about it? Let's build your action plan for getting some relief. For that everyday kind of bloating, you'd be surprised how much these little tweaks can help. Instead of 3 huge meals, try smaller ones more often. Ditch the gum that makes you swallow a bunch of air. And you know what? Don't underestimate the power of just chilling out. Stress can seriously mess with your gut health. But what if those simple fixes just aren't cutting it? Well, that's when a doctor can step in, and they've got a whole toolbox depending on the cause. This could mean anything from probiotics to diuretics for fluid buildup, or even therapies like CBT. The whole point is to treat the root cause, not just the symptom. Okay, everyone, lean in for this part. This is probably the most important section we're going to cover. How do you know when this has crossed the line from just an annoyance to a genuine red flag? Let's get crystal clear on when it's time to call the doctor. Right, this is the big question, isn't it? When do you stop trying to figure it out on your own and get a professional opinion? So please, pay really close attention to these. If the swelling just won't go away or it's actually getting worse, if you see blood in your stool, have a fever, or your stomach is tender to the touch, that's your signal. Don't wait, make the call. And there's a very specific and very important note here for women over 55. If you're dealing with constant swelling and you find yourself getting full really fast or having trouble eating, you need to get that checked out. It's so crucial to rule out more serious possibilities. Okay, we have thrown a ton of information at you, so let's bring it all home. What are the key things you can do starting today? Let's boil it all down into some simple steps. All right, here are your 3 big takeaways. Number 1, Become your own health detective. Start tracking what you eat and do to see if you can spot any patterns. Number 2, think about how you eat. Slow down, try smaller meals. And number 3, and this is a big one, if you even suspect there's an underlying issue, don't go it alone. Partner with your doctor to get real answers. Because really, that's what it all comes down to. Knowledge is power. Understanding the why behind the swelling is always the first step. Once you know what you're dealing with, you can finally start to find some real relief. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. That swelling, that discomfort, it's not random. It's a message. Your body is sending you signals. The only question is, are you listening?